Hello everybody, this is Kiryu Show here. Now, let us begin. Directly after the heroes versus villains, people are asking exactly how the hell Deku even thought about doing that. Deku would just say he's the smarter out of the two, and Bakugo would just say shut it. Deku would just say, well, yeah, Bakugo is more headstrong, like Kirishima. Hey, why are you dragging me into this? Because you know exactly what I mean. Anyways, he's more headstrong, and Kirishima's more the exact same way. However, sometimes he's very tacticious, but I think I'm more so. Now, they would go have that conversation as the rest of the matches would continue. Now then, the USJ event. Everyone is on the bus, and Deku is still out. He's actually wearing his hero gloves, because these are actually a bit more comfortable than his regular ones. Now, people are actually asking Deku, why is he wearing those? And he would say, well, it basically keeps a control over my quirk, but also they're actually cushioned so that I can use it better. In fact, one of the main reasons why these work so well is because basically I'm touching the gloves with all 5 fingers. So I'm actually able to set off the detonation in my palm, basically making my quirk more like my brother, or more like Bakugo's. Well, Katsuki's. Bakugo would just say, well, yeah, your quirk. So you use a support item to make your quirk better. That's how it works. Can't blame me though for trying to copy me. Deku would just say, alright, well, if I was trying to copy you, Bakugo, you would have won. Oh, you better fucking not start. You were bragging about that at home. Well, yeah. What else am I supposed to do? I finally beat you. And people would actually ask exactly what is going on. Kirishima would just say, these two do nothing but train. In fact, one thing that he actually did was he met Bakugo at a gym once. And basically these two had an argument. Deku bought some weighted clothing, put it on, and ran out the door. They would ask what he mean by weighted clothing, and Deku would just immediately say that he wears weighted clothing to train, and he usually does a lot of running to actually improve. In fact, I'm not even wearing it right now, as he stands up and lifts up his shirt, showing he's not wearing any. This actually surprises people, as they just see Deku is very lean. What do I mean by lean? Oh my god, you can grind meat off of those. I've always wanted to make that reference. I forgot to during Escanor Deku, and I regretted it. So I had to make it here. This actually surprises a lot of the girls, and this is whenever Jiro would just grab Deku's shirt, pulling it down, actually making him slam back into the seat, saying, what was that for? Bakugo would just start laughing, saying he kind of deserved it. And Ochako would think that that was pretty stupid. Now, this is whenever they would arrive, and Aizawa just says that they are going to be doing joint training missions. In fact, they are going to be here training and also working on rescuing people. In fact, teamwork is going to be a good option, so because of that, Bakugo and Deku, because of the way you two act around each other, you will not be on a team. This is whenever they would all walk in, their team would give the explanation. Hey, there's villains here now. So you know what that means? Yeah. Aizawa would immediately run in, trying to attack the villains and actually hold them off. Deku would actually see this, and he actually starts running in. Bakugo would see this, and he would do the exact same, saying he's not going to let that damn nerd, or he's not going to let Deku get ahead of him. In fact, I bet I can take down as many villains as you. Doubt it, Bakugo. As Deku is actually running at, I want to say, let's see, superhuman speed is a thing, so I want to put him at 60 miles an hour. And since I'm putting Deku at 60 miles, I want to put Bakugo at around, I want to say 40 miles. But Bakugo can lift, I want to say about 300 to 400 pounds, while Deku can lift about 300 to 350. So that is how I'm doing that. Basically, Deku excels in speed, Bakugo excels in power. Well, power output. Deku immediately runs in, and he's actually blasting all the villains and people. This actually kind of confuses Shigaraki. Wait, there's a guy who can clone himself? Wait, no, those two aren't clones. Wait, how is that possible? Quirks that are... Okay. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Anyways, Kirigiri, summon the Nomu. Now, the Nomu would be summoned, and all the students would actually be scattered about. Deku's actually falling as he actually just thinks, okay, well, now's as good as any to work on this. And he's actually able to control his explosions. As he's doing this, he sees Jiro. Jiro's actually trying to put her feet underneath her, but she's having a bit of trouble. Deku actually flies close to her, essentially sweeping her feet underneath her, helping her, and she actually is able to get the sound underneath her. As this happens, this is whenever Froppy actually ropes herself onto Deku's leg, and Deku goes smashing into the boat, not accounting for Froppy's extra weight, throwing him off balance. Deku does that, and Froppy climbs up the side as Jiro actually makes her way to the boat. Now, after this happens, Froppy would apologize, saying she didn't really mean to do that, she thought he saw her. Deku would just say that's fine, but next time, at least give me a warning, because I'm still trying to get used to this. This is all Bakugo's thing. Anyways, my gloves seem to be fine. Okay. So, quick rundown. They don't know our quirks, but this seems like they do now. What do you mean? Well, think about it. You are a frog. There's fire over there. There's a cold climate. There's anything else. They sent you to water. They could have sent you into a jungle. But they sent you here. In the middle of water where your quirk is actually very good and useful. But the reason why they're not attacking us is because they know our quirks now. Jiro can actually basically mess them up and mess up their radars or whatever, because these are ocean villains. She could basically mess up their heads. If not, mess with their head, not water in their ear. Mess with everything inside their heads. I can just blow them to smithereens. In fact, hang on. Okay, this is going to be very stupid. Are you guys ready? Because I think you need to hold on to something. They're asking Deku exactly what he's doing, and he would just extend his arm outward at the back of the boat, bring his hand up, pulling the pin on his gauntlet. As soon as he pulls the pin, this is whenever he just says that he is taking them ashore. As the explosion goes off, Deku is just holding himself as much as possible, and the boat actually goes flying to shore. As soon as his explosion stops, he actually brings up his other arm, pulling the other pin, blowing themselves, and along with the boat, actually onto the shoreline. As soon as that happened, the Nomu is walking over to Aizawa, and is actually about to injure him. This is whenever Aizawa, he looks up behind the Nomu, and he immediately sees the shore. Except he hears a sound, so he immediately goes to dodge out of the way. He actually just jumps left, and this is whenever the Nomu sees this, is confused, and Shigaraki turns around. seeing a giant boat flying their direction, as it smashes into the Nomu and they actually jump off. Aizawa just says, "You know what, problem child? That was not bad." Anyways, where's the other one? I'm not sure. Explosion goes off in the distance. I'm very sure. Anyways. Ugh. Bakugo and I believe Tokuyami and the tail guy. I believe they're all in that area where it's on fire and raining. They actually would take out all the villains and make their way over to where Deku and Jiro are. Now, Uraka's actually with Momo, and they're actually able to have an easier time with the villains over there. While this is going on, Deku is actually saying that this is not fair. If not, this isn't very cool. Why are you guys even doing this? We are here to take down All Might. So, that's why you're here? Well, yeah. Why else would we be? God damn it. What is up with villains and thinking they can take down the #1 hero? Is this like a dick measuring contest between you guys? Oh, what does that have to do with you guys always try and fight people? It's annoying. Jesus. Alright, listen, kid, you're being very rude. I'm being rude? You're rude, asshole. Okay, you know what? Nomu, kill him. Wait, what? As the Nomu comes in to attack Deku, Jiro actually pushes him out of the way with her sound waves. Deku actually slides to the left, actually able to touch the Nomu's arm, and he actually makes it explode. As soon as this happens, this is whenever Shigaraki is confused, and he would just see Deku with 5 fingertips actually poking out from his glove. He just thinks, okay, this kid's quirk is weird. Better not get close. So he actually turns his head, seeing Jiro. He immediately starts running at her, and Deku just tells her to dodge, if not attack him. Jiro actually goes to make sound waves as the Nomu gets in front of him, actually absorbing the shock. This is whenever Shigaraki just says that they're not going to be able to hold him off forever. This thing is made to kill All Might. Deku eventually would see Bakugo, and he immediately just brings up his hand, pulling the pin on his gauntlet again, and a smaller explosion would go off, but still big enough to catch Bakugo's attention. Bakugo sees that and he immediately starts flying their direction, along with Kirishima. Now, while that's going on, Deku, he immediately begins looking for something on his belt, and he actually sees it. He sees a grenade, and he's thinking that they essentially need to take down this thing, or at least try and hold it off till All Might arrives. Deku turns his head, seeing Aizawa, and actually asks him if he can still use his quirk. Aizawa would say yes, he can, but it's just he needs to do something first. He pulls out his eye drops and puts them into his eyes, actually blinking, able to actually see. Now, Aizawa just... Aizawa. I do not know what I even just said. Aizawa, he actually just tells them that they have the go-ahead. As Deku and Bakugo immediately start blasting explosions, as Jiro is just putting as much sound into it as possible. She is actually watching as the Nomu's skin actually starts cracking a bit, but it just starts healing. Shigaraki would just say that the Nomu can heal, as Kirishima actually turns. He actually just hardens his skin as much as possible, telling Deku and Bakugo to essentially throw him at the Nomu. They would both grab both sides of Kirishima, actually launching him with as big of an explosion as both of them can make. This would actually crack one of Deku's gloves, so... Okay, hang on. Jeez, that's annoying. Every dog in the neighborhood starts howling as soon as I say that they throw Kirishima. Now, As Kirishima is flying through the air, and he actually had his skin hardened, but he starts hardening it more and more until he reaches his Unbreakable mode. As soon as he does that, he's actually 10 feet from the Nomu, as he actually brings his hands out, putting them together, and he actually hardens himself some more, going a bit beyond his Unbreakable mode. As his hands actually form somewhat of a sharp point, he actually stabs it into the Nomu's chest, and he has immediately just got his arms stuck to his elbows through the Nomu. He immediately brings up his leg, actually pulling himself out, as he says that they have an opening, now fire. As Deku and Bakugo, they immediately just run towards him, and they start blasting as much as they can. Deku actually firing off as much explosions as he can, as Bakugo does the same. This is actually straining both of their bodies, and Deku's nose is actually running. As soon as he sees this, he realizes that this is not going to be easy, but he needs to keep going. He just keeps blasting and blasting and blasting, and he actually pulls one of the grenades from his utility belt, telling Bakugo that he has an idea, but he just needs to get as many as possible. Deku actually loops the rings around 4 of his fingers, and he actually runs in with Bakugo. These two immediately just shove the grenades in the hole as it starts healing. Bakugo gets his arm in. These two immediately just both rip their arms out and blast the Nomu in the face. As soon as this happens, the Nomu staggers backwards as they start blasting away. Deku immediately hitting release, and the Nomu blows up, along with their explosives that were in his chest. Shigaraki's actually somewhat impressed, saying that that will not be enough, as the Nomu is missing an arm and is actually just looks like a bit hollow-skinned. Well, they essentially blew up all its internal organs, its ribcage, and they actually twisted one of its bones in its arm. As the Nomu immediately begins healing, these two think that this is not going to be enough. They immediately tell Jiro to crank up the velocity, and Jiro actually begins doing so as you start hearing the boom, boom, boom turn to a bit of a higher pitch as it's actually getting more intense, turning almost into a loud white noise. Now, if you guys don't know what I mean, it's basically almost turning up to the frequency of a dog whistle, kind of like that. Now, it's actually turning up, and everyone's actually somewhat concerned, as you just see Jiro actually somewhat starting to be fatigued and huffing and puffing. Ochako is actually able to eventually catch up to them after dealing with all the villains. They are floating at the top of the USJ, and she actually runs in, tapping on the Nomu. As soon as she did that, the Nomu would actually smack her away. As Bakugo sees this, he gets annoyed and he actually brings up one of his giant gauntlets, ripping the pin off, telling Deku that he needs to get the other one. If not, he needs to use his. Deku brings his up, but as soon as he does so, he can't fire, because as soon as he rips the pin off, it blows up on his arm, sending him flying backwards. Bakugo would see this, and as soon as he turns his head, he turns it back. The Nomu is directly in front of him. As it goes to grab Bakugo's face, the explosion goes off, actually tearing off its arm. Now, this was actually the arm Ochako tapped. Now, the Nomu, its leg that she tapped, is actually starting to come up, but the Nomu is just putting as much force and weight as it can down, essentially fighting with her quirk. He essentially ripped off the Nomu's arm as it begins regrowing. Now, they are actually badly damaged and badly injured, and Aizawa is actually not able to see as he has not been able to blink. He's been using his quirk this whole time, and he finally shuts his eyes as they are actually somewhat bleeding. They are thinking that they just need to hold it off, if not, try and kill it. Deku thinks, okay, I have one more idea, but it's not going to be easy. Dude, calm down. Dude, look at your shirt. As Deku looks down, his entire shirt is covered in blood, and he's saying he doesn't care. We have to save everyone. As the door burst open and they see All Might. Now, All Might actually does what he does in canon, where he actually fights the Nomu and he sends it flying away with a 1,000,000% smash. Deku, Ochako, Bakugo, and Jiro, all in Kirishima, are actually taken to the infirmary. Jiro actually overused her quirk, somewhat causing a small brain aneurysm. Deku has a lot of brain damage, if not a little bit, in somewhat overdoing his quirk, causing intense blood loss, and he's almost an entire quart low on blood. Now then, that basically means he's missing a fifth, if not almost a fifth of his blood. And Bakugo is actually tore some of the muscle ligaments in his arm, causing a lot of strain, as Kirishima has a broken hand, if not a fractured arm, along with possibly a few broken ribs. They would all be taken to the infirmary and actually healed by Recovery Girl. As they are told, they have 2 weeks for the sports festival. So they need to get ready and actually prepare, because this will determine their futures. Now, that is where I'm leaving this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I will catch you guys later.